one Bedevil, which is, I think, one of the most just obviously powerful cards that they've previewed so far because of the easy comparison to Hero's Downfall. And then Rixmati Reveler, which is this really interesting, like, cheap creature that can get you a little bit of value, smooth out your draws in the early game, and then when you play it in the late game, because the Rakdos Midrange deck generates a lot of incidental bodies. Like Jim had Dusk Legion Zealot, which is the card that I trimmed for Rixmati Reveler. But you also have Plague Crafter, you have Ravenous Chupacabra, you have Legion War Boss that creates extra bodies.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of ways to use Rixmati Reveler. I mean, I think it's going to fit very well in a hyper-aggressive Rakdos strategy where you can empty your hand and just play it for 2 mana to discard your 1 card, which is nothing.
4 mana for Spectacle, 2 black red.
The front half isn't bad. If you have no cards in hand, it's a 2-mana 2/2 that says draw a card. If you have no cards in hand, the Spectacle part, it's a little more expensive. It costs 4 mana, but you get a bigger effect of it. It just turns into a mini Bedlam Reveler, and I think that's something that is something we don't get to see too much when it's in Standard.
These like sort of grindy mid-range decks that generate a lot of value with their creatures. This is another way to get incidental value out of your creatures by turning Spectacle on, getting this 4 mana 2/2 that generates significant card advantage and bridges you into the late game where you have some Planeswalkers and more removal. So I'm interested to see what this card does. Definitely a step up in power level from Dusk Legion Zealot. It's not as consistently good like Zealot, that helps you make your land drops, increases your total number of resources, but definitely there's an upside there if the card plays out well.
Well, I mean, it doesn't increase your overall number of resources, that is true, but how effective is a 1/1 body in the current Standard format? That's something you have to take into consideration when you put a card like Dusk Legion Zealot into your main deck. I think that the upside of having the body be slightly bigger so it trades with more things is important, but also the way that the Standard format is built or was built before Ravnica Allegiance, you're going to play against some decks where you have like 10 dead cards in your deck, and being able to discard those early and turn those into land drops, or discard an extra land and turning it into an interactive spell, is going to go a long way and turns into effectively card advantage, turning dead cards into real effects.
Essentially the same as drawing extra cards, like pitching your Lava Coil against a Teferi deck. Definitely something you're more than willing to do. So a card that I think has a lot of potential to be quite powerful. And here, that 2/2 body is also very relevant. Like you're adding up damage with Midnight Reapers and Plague Crafters, and so just generating that kind of pressure against other control decks, other mid-range decks, maybe sometimes trading off against a Branch Walker, things like that. So I'm excited to see what the card can do. And while when Jim first showed me the deck and told me this is what he's playing at the Invitational, I was a little skeptical. It was like, Rakdos isn't one of the guilds, right?
You know, Blood Crypt. What are you doing?
Yeah,
you're playing Cinder Barons.
That is another upgrade. We get to play 4 Blood Crypts instead of 4 Cinder Barons.
Yeah.
So that was a nice easy swap in the mana base too.
Yeah. I'm definitely looking forward to see how this Rakdos deck plays out. We're going to be first off pitting this Rakdos deck versus Andrew Jessup's Izzet Drake's List. The next match we'll be playing my Esper control build that I put together for today against Derek Pete's Golgari deck, and that one should be a pretty interesting matchup. But we'll talk more about that when we get to that matchup. And then for the final match, we're going to be pitting these 2 new decks against each other. This Esper control deck featuring 4 copies of Absorb, 4 copies of Mortify, and Sphinx's Insight. Yes, correct. And I think I might have some Tide Takers in the sideboard. Those might be pretty good against your deck.
You might have those. Are you unsure at this point?
I mean, they are. They're there. They're in the sideboard. So I guess we'll take some questions from Twitch chat. Is that something we can do?
Yeah, the first one that came up, Killer JV99 was asking if Judith, the Scourge Devil, would be good. Do you feel like it'd be good in the Rakdos Midrange deck, Ross?
I think Judith is more situated for a low to the ground aggressive deck. Maybe you can go a little higher on the curve in that aggro deck, but here, this is a deck that isn't really interested in forcing through damage. You're getting through incidental damage from all these value creatures that your opponents don't really want to kill or don't have the removal to kill. So that's not a card that we're really interested in. This Rakdos Midrange deck is really playing long games, even though the creature count is pretty high. Like all the creatures generate value. So over the course of a game, like you just sort of old school, like small advantages over time build up and snowball.
I'll agree with your point, but I want to also state that I think that there could very easily be a Judith Scourge Diva deck that uses Skirk Prospector alongside her ability and goes ballistic. That seems right. That doesn't seem too bad.
There are plenty of questions about like a Mardu Aristocrats or something.
Oh yeah, I mean so here's the thing. As far as I remember, Judith doesn't count tokens. And if you're going to be playing goblins, chances are you need to be playing Goblin Instigator. You need to be playing Siege Gang Commander. There might even be another token I'm forgetting. And
Legion Warboss.
Legion Warboss. So you're going to be generating tokens and not getting as much value out of the triggered ability from Judith. But the +1/+0 to all your creatures is also something that's desirable when you're generating a bunch of tokens. So I don't know where we're going to go yet. We need to see a lot more cards for this strategy, but I think the starting point of Skirk Prospector, a bunch of goblins, and Judith potentially a strategy.
Yeah, and as we get deeper into preview season, you're going to see us go deeper into exploring different decks that are heavier on cards from the new set, and really look into those themes and what's possible, and then even later look into how they cross over, because I'm assuming basically in every Ravnica format we've had 3-color decks have been the norm.
Yeah, I mean, so the previous standard format, I think the Wizards did a really good job of balancing the guilds and kind of giving us good incentives to play.
4 out of 5 ain't bad.
4 out of 5 ain't bad. Yeah, I mean, what was the one we didn't play?
Demir.
I played Demir a little. It was, I mean, we usually splashed red. You're right. No, we splashed red. Okay. Yeah, fine. Demir Spybug wasn't it?
Yeah.
But I really wanted it to be.
So did I. 4 out of 5 ain't
that
bad.
third set, though, which have they even come up with a third name of the third Ravnica set? I know it's Allegiance.
As far
and
as
then
I know, I don't think they have yet.
Oh, I bet it's a big spoiler. It's like Ravnica's dead or something. We're never coming back here.
Yeah, it's just the most popular set every time.
7 years later, we came back.
King of Limbs 449 was asking, what are your opinions on the Planeswalkers? Are they? There's a lot of people saying they're not great. You think they're like in the middle, or
I'm very low on them. I think what's the Azorius one's name?
Dovin.
I think that one has some potential, especially with the Azorius split card and maybe some other support for it. But on its own, it's somewhat of a weakish card, but it has potential if you can make it work. I think the Kaya is just, people are talking about it like it's a sideboard card because all of its abilities are really narrow. Yeah. But think about what deck are you siding that in against? What graveyard deck is playing a 3-mana sorcery that exiles 2 cards from their graveyard going to be good enough to stop? Like, narrow linear cards need to be powerful within their lane. This is a card that's narrow, and the effects aren't really powerful, but there are just a lot of them.
Yeah, I'm definitely known for staying in my lane.
A lot of mediocre power level, but narrow effects stapled together does not make a good card. You don't just pile mediocrity on top of mediocrity and get someplace good.
I'm going to agree to an extent, but again, I want to point out that exiling a 1-mana permanent, I believe that is the second ability.
Yeah, non-land permanent.
Non-land permanent.
Yeah. If it's Stone Rain people, it would be real good.
Particularly powerful in older formats. And when we look through cards, we can't always look through the lens of the context of standard. I don't think that's really fair to judge a card specifically based on that. I mean, you also take into consideration that a format like Legacy has a ton of 1-mana things that are very important to exile, while also understanding that the graveyard is something that almost every deck uses to some extent, or at some point in the past has. Modern, I think it could also be potentially powerful. So I don't know. I'm giving it like a C+ because it's a 3-mana Planeswalker. Ability is not great.
Yeah. Maybe the card does something in Legacy, but I gotta tell you, I'm not usually interested in Legacy decks that are in the market for an Orzhov Planeswalker.
Well, shut up.
Not just gonna go on a limb and say that's not really my style.
Maybe they were developing this card when Deathrite Shaman was still around, and they're like, we really need this 3-mana sorcery speed answer on the draw to a Deathrite Shaman.
Answer.
Anyway, Dovin, I think is actually good. Having 3-mana token generator is not that bad. You get the minus make a token, and it still is around, which is a pretty big deal.
I just want the plus ability to do something.
Yeah, it puts more loyalty on it.
Literally
No, I get it. No, I understand. That is a fair thing to want, but you could get to a point if you're building a token-based strategy, there's a real advantage to being able to play Dovinbon plus and then threaten ultimate next turn with a swarm of blockers, and the ultimate is fairly powerful. It's like
super dig through time.
Super dig through time. And I think that is something that, we haven't seen the play pattern yet because we don't have a clear picture of what Azorius looks like. But the split card, the back half of deploy, making 2 Thopters and speed, gaining some life. A couple other cards so far seem like they generate Thopters. You have the old Tezzeret from Core Set 2019 that can make Thopters and draw cards. And you can build this like kind of Azorius colored Thopter token strategy, maybe even splashing another color for
Nick Miller tribal.
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah. Nick Miller's. Oh man, this is his day. He's getting it.
Yeah.
He's gonna be everywhere. But yeah, I mean, I think that there are certainly uses for Dovinbon. I agree that not having a plus ability that does anything is a little awkward. But I mean, it does do something. It can threaten ultimating immediately
if you connect with 3 creatures, which is usually a spot where like some other card would probably win.
Yeah,
It's just kind of like a design that was like trying to put blue-white in a different direction from, say, Teferi, obviously.
Oh, yeah. I do enjoy that Azorius as a guild is this like tokeny mid-range creature deck. We've got like the Detention Sphere on a Fiend Hunter.
Yeah, love it. No, if they had just given us like Supreme Verdict, Detention Sphere, Sphinx's Revelation with Teferi, I would have just been like, what? Come on. Really?
Yeah, we did this 5 years ago.
Yeah. No, was it 5? I thought it was
6.
more. Yeah. Anyway, any more questions? Got one more good one?
Not really.
Okay,
Not
great.
Really. Okay.
Everyone wants to play Magic. That's fine. I want to play Magic.
Everybody's on the holiday hangover.
Whew.
Okay.
Ooh, my hand's pretty good.
How are we doing this?
I don't know. High roll. 9, 6. I'll be on the play. And take a look at this opener. It's pretty good. We got some filtering and some interaction, and hopefully we are able to draw into some threats.
I have a Mopey mid-range hand.
Well, that sounds like Jim Dave's special if I ever heard of one.
Yep.
All right, lead with this Dragon Skull Summit since it's going to enter tapped and we don't have anything to do for 1 mana.
I will play Memorial to Folly.
Nice. We're going to play Chart over the other one because we do have access to black mana now. Not to completely give it away.
The old Discovery Dispersal.
All right, so he showed me Memorial to Folly. I'm going to quote-unquote assume he's playing Golgari. I'm going to discard Shock. Just because, I mean, it could kill something, but our hand is in a spot where we don't really want to.
I might do something later.
Ooh.
Might.
Yes.
Do something later. You never know.
Digging for lands here. We need a blue.
Oh, Todd, Inferno SC wants to know what your score prediction is for the national championship game.
My score prediction for the national championship game, I think that Alabama is going to win by 4 points.
Midnight
Reaper. That's a good one. All right, I'm going to gamble.
So Alabama had a game this year yet where they failed to win by fewer than 10 points?
Don't jinx me and shut up, please. So Ross actually texted me. Go ahead. The night of the Oklahoma game and was just like, is Oklahoma really the 4th ranked team in the nation? They're down by 28 in the second quarter. And then they just immediately put up like 13 points and I just wanted to strangle him. I was just like, this is how it ends. I just get a text from Ross that's just like, haha, overconfident. And then it just comes crashing down with the biggest like comeback upset in history.
And they still won easily. I drew my 4th land, which was great.
So you say easily.
Phoenix.
I say I was on the edge of my seat for a while.
Yeah.
Man. So if I play this Enigma Drake, it's just going to die. Let's not.
Is it, though?
Probably. Your hand is just all stuff. All right.
Got another lava coil?
No. Just digging for stuff.
Probably digging for lava coils.
All right, we're going to bend this shock. Keep this. Your turn.
All right, so another one for Todd.
What's up?
From Viper 12 Skies. What's your thought on Niv Mizzet decks playing Risk Factor? Is that just too bad?
Niv decks playing Risk Factor. So Niv does. I'm going to take 4 down to 16.
Yeah, attack brings you to 16. I got another Phoenix.
Yikes. So Niv.
I guess why don't was his phrasing. I'm sorry.
So for the most part, Niv is a self-sustaining engine, right? Like if you play a Niv, you are probably going to win the game if it survives, and something like Risk Factor is not really necessary. Like you can see right now, I've put no pressure on Ross. If I had cast a Risk Factor at any point in this game, Ross would have took 4 to the head, and it would have done nothing, right? And this is typical of these games. I would much rather have a card that says draw a card, and then just rely on things like Enigma Drake or something to get the job done. Anyway, speaking of Enigma Drake, go.
Okay.
We don't have the one from Wizards of the Coast that counts it up, so I'll count it up. It's a 9/4.
Let's play around Spell Pierce, shall we? And Lava Coil that. Screwed this up.
Nice, because now I can block. Aha! Should have attacked first. Chunk. Hey, now it's a 10. I guess we should just do this. Is this something y'all want? Ask chat, do y'all want me to do this, or do you want me to just splay my graveyard? Because I can do either. It's fine.
Shocking myself
down
to 18.
Okay. Ooh, Bedevil.
Seems like everybody likes the dice.
Okay, I'll try to keep the dice up to date.
Todd has discarded multiple shocks already. Oh, you have a Beacon Bolt in there?
I do.
So if I attack with the Phoenixes, Todd gets to just trade, and then Beacon Bolt the token I get for the Elemental token.
Also true.
Which is not great. I mean, it's still getting 2 cards, but one of the cards is probably going to... Oh, it's probably not going to be an extra land because Todd's been struggling to make it his land drops.
I've hit every land drop.
Silver Saint 7 says whichever option annoys Ross more.
Okay. I don't think either would, really.
Yeah, I barely...
When I'm watching coverage, this annoys the crap out of me, but, I mean, I don't know, I guess it's better than not knowing.
I guess if I attack, Todd could just take 8 and go to 8 and then have a 10
not block?
Then you could untap and have a 10-4 that
It
attacks
has
me.
7 toughness.
It has... Oh, yeah, because it's hexproof. It doesn't have 4 damage on it.
That is correct.
Oh, that's... Yeah, attacking is just bad.
Okay, my turn?
Yeah, pass turn. Okay.
Upkeep. I just assumed you shot because you had Bedevil, so okay. I was letting you do it.
I don't want to bedevil that thing and then have you slam a Niv Mizzet.
Yeah. I played a mountain, I think, right?
You had 5 mana last turn.
I know. I just played the wrong land.
Okay.
Play a Crackling Drake. Draw.
Trigger on the stack. Now I'll bedevil.
I'll dive down again. Yep. Alright, draw off the Crackling Drake. Your turn.
Yeah, so I just should have shocked last turn before Lava Coiling, because then I could have bedeviled in response to dive down. It would have forced Todd to have the dive down immediately. I guess it did have, likely did have it, unless you just drew it for turn, but now we're in a bit of an awkward spot.
Nah, you fine. Just need to draw another Lava Coil, take care of one of these Phoenixes, and get to crash in with these giant monsters. Well, we drew that one off the draw off the Crackling Drake. That would have been terrifying. You really tried to steal my giant... Oh, no, I guess...
when you steal this one and have it die.
Have it die?
You sacrifice it if it's CMC 3 or less.
Oh, wow, yeah. I always forget about that part of it.
Okay, pass.
You have 2 cards in hand?
Yeah. No, it might just be dead. Please don't Lava Coil me.
I don't have coil. I don't think you're dead, which is unfortunate. Go. basically attacking with these at this turn. Like I would be forced basically to Beacon Bolt. That's just not doing it. Much rather just get Niv on the battlefield and force him to have another removal spell, because even if he does, I draw another card, and that pushes me towards potentially having another removal spell. If he taps out again, we can maybe go Beacon Bolt to turn one of his Phoenixes into an egg, and then swing through and get one through. But if we're not killing him, that seems like a huge waste of resources. All right.
17.
Yeah, I'll shoot. No, I'll shoot you. Yeah. Fine. All right. 17 to 16.
Pass turn.
All right. Drake, search. And
this is quickly going poorly.
I will pass turn.
Not sure, given that Todd likely had the second dive down anyway, I'm not sure there's really much I could have done.
No, I did. I had the second dive down for a while. On turn 5, I actually thought about, I could have played Enigma Drake with 2 backup, or Crackling Drake with 1 backup. I actually think I punted by saving this. I think if I don't save this, I get to save this.
Got another Angrath. Got another Spell Pierce.
Yeah, no, that results.
It's minus on Enigma Drake, and attack you for 2, 3.
All right, I'll block.
Yeah.
It turns on a shock from him. Actually, I'll block with this one because Crackling Drake's better.
Sure. Okay, pass the turn. Okay. Those things are 12s right now?
Yeah. All right, search for Scanta. I'll keep this on top. Transform. It's not as bad as you think. It's just a Crackling Drake. But it's still pretty good. But it's not as bad as you think. All right, we will play the land. We can only search for Scanta and then shock. I guess we could maybe kill Angarth. Oh, wait, no, I need to not play the land. Hold on, sorry.
It was an island?
It was the island, yeah.
Okay.
All right, because I need to discard the island and then activate this.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Your turn.
Okay. So let's plus this thing.
All right.
So you go to 14.
Yes. Is it exile or discard?
Discard.
Okay.
Lava Coil of Cracking Drake.
All right, it's going.
Play another Rekindling Phoenix.
Yep.
And at this point, do I want to attack? Not sure I do, because
I don't think you
just
should.
have so...
I think there's a good chance you just straight up die. But I mean, I don't know what's in your hand, but we actually would have hit the shock, which would have let us clear the.
With the Beacon Bolt in the graveyard, I definitely can't attack.
Yeah, because then it just takes a coil or another Beacon Bolt.
Yeah, and like. Those 1-mana instants are real good.
All right.
Thinking about killing a Phoenix?
Yeah, I have a shock. I can kill a Phoenix and then knock down a Phoenix, give him an egg, shock, or I can just take care of Angarth. I'm going to start by taking care of Angarth. I haven't played a land yet. I'm going to draw, deal 1 damage to him. Opt resolves. This goes to 13. Like, we could go for maybe we can't kill this turn, but because we're a little light on land. All right, opt. Keep that. Then I'll knock this down. I guess I'll play my land. Say go.
Think I am pretty dead at this point. But I guess I have another draw. So let's play Rixmati. Okay, discard this Midnight Reaper I don't want. And hope to hit either Plague Crafter or Chupacabra. That's not the worst. Lava Coil, the Crackling Drake. Trigger Niv Izzet.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll trigger Niv, draw, shoot this for 1. I'm going to shock targeting this, draw a card off of this.
Yeah, 1 more draw towards the dive down.
I already have the dive down. The 1 damage from Niv will go here. Then shock will resolve and you'll get an egg.
So now this has 1 damage on it.
Yeah, and then I'll dive down the Lava Cold target, draw a card off of this, and shoot the egg, I guess. I didn't quite do it. I should have hit you for 1, but it's fine. Sure. Pretty sure you're still dead.
Yeah, you just have Beacon Bolt for another Phoenix and one. Oh no, you need to kill both to have it be actual.
Pretty sure I don't. This is 18
oh
damage.
no, yeah, sorry.
This is 18 damage.
Somehow I said one of these dying, and I still thought I could block 2. But
yeah,
I'm dead. Okay. Dive down is very good.
Alrighty. We're going to take a short break here while Ross and I prepare for sideboarding. When we come back, we'll break down how we sideboarded and what changes we make to our deck. But yeah, we're going to be right back.
And welcome back here to sideboarding with Rakdos Midrange against Izzet Drakes. On my side, Duress and Direfleet Daredevil are definitely the cards I want here. I think Duress is going to be really important for breaking up some of those like high leverage turns that the Izzet Drakes decks generate by like landing their threat, having the dive down for the removal spell, untapping, and stabilizing, which is what we saw in game 1. I think Direfleet Daredevil is also great in this matchup. Just you're almost always just targeting either a cantrip, and so you have this like neat little sort of Silvergill Adept kind of card, or you're targeting a Lava Coil to deal with one of their creatures, which is great as well, and leaves a little bit of value behind. I am cutting like the low impact 2-drop at Dusk Legion Zealot for the Daredevil. The Arguel's Bloodfast is a liability here because Izzet Drakes can easily just set up these big turns and kill you in 1 attack, and you don't really need this to grind the long game. And then I'm cutting some of my high-end cards that are vulnerable to getting out-tempoed.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you play Rekindling Phoenix and it just dies to a Lava Coil, and you really don't want that to happen. And then Angrath getting Spell Pierce is just a huge deal.
Yeah.
So I want to try to avoid those scenarios. So I'm trimming on these cards. I am leaving in 1 Angrath because sometimes the tempo can be really big. And I understand that these situations are going to happen less often now that I have Duress as well, but I want to mitigate them as much as possible. Because I think if we just play a straight-up game where everybody gets to cast their spells and I kill their creatures, and as long as Niv Mizzet doesn't get out of hand, I should win. It's like when you set up those turns where you have the double dive down on your 1 creature, and then I couldn't really attack, where things got messy.
Yeah, how many Direfleet Daredevils do you have in the main deck?
1. 1 more on the sideboard.
Yeah, I think this card is particularly good against Izzet Drakes because they all play a bunch of Lava Coils. Direfleet Daredevil acts as this additional removal spell that is almost always Lava Coil. And in spots where you need to apply pressure, you can just cast on turn 3 and cast Opt. It's just a great sideboard card against this archetype for sure. I agree with Angarth coming out. Getting a Spell Pierce is pretty gross. I think the only really good target for it is Enigma Drake. The plus on it is not as damning as it is in some matchups. And I think getting to the ultimate is going to be rather difficult.
Yeah.
So I agree with trimming that. I think that against any deck that plays Spell Pierce, having Planeswalkers is a bit of a liability. With that said, I'm going to leave these in, but this is how I'm going to sideboard. But this is what I was considering bringing in. We haven't seen Siege Gang Commander from Ross. I think it's safe to assume that in his deck it was a big part of Jim's strategy.
Yeah.
And so, like, I think that the option of Fiery Cannonade as a way to help deal with that card is particularly strong, but we're just going to let our Nivs and our Drakes do a lot of the heavy lifting. Let Siege Gang usually, like, throw 2 goblins at one of our threats and then just try to save it with dive down or something, or just grind through it. We're trimming some of our removal, which could be a mistake. I'm not exactly sure how to sideboard in this matchup, to be quite frank, so I'm just going to go with my gut here, do this. Hope we don't get run over by the early drops and just rely on our more powerful cards.
Yeah, this is the typical plan for sideboarding. It's like mid-range decks where you want to increase the power level of your deck, but against the way the Rakdos mid-range deck is built, I have all these cheap creatures that can let me be aggressive, so you are opening yourself up to that, which is one of the reasons that I like the way this deck is built.
All right, let's field some questions from Twitch chat.
So one from the Master Mike. Todd, is there any thought to running a couple of Rivers Rebukes in the sideboard if you plan on running a bunch of mid-range decks?
So, I'll say this. I haven't really thought too much about Rivers Rebuke in quite some time. It's a card that gets brought up quite a bit as far as sideboard is concerned because of how good it was in the Teamer versus Teamer Energy mirror match. Those decks were heavily focused around building a board presence and then having a sideboard one of Rivers Rebuke, which would literally trump basically everything that the opponent was trying to do because it would get rid of basically all the +1 counters you were able to generate off things like Hydra or 2-drop. I forget his name. Long Tusk Cub. But it also kept you from just straight up losing to something like Whirler Virtuoso. It allowed you to break through a board stall if they were to have Whirler Virtuoso advantage. I think that as a one-sided effect, you need to have a insanely good reason for playing it in your sideboard. I would say that like a Golgari mid-range deck, splashing blue might want something like this, like Rivers Rebuke in the sideboard, but I don't think you want for something like Izzet Drakes. We're more focused around playing like 1 threat or 2 threats and just using those and riding those to victory. Rivers Rebuke is much better when you have a bunch of small to medium things as opposed to one large thing.
Very much agree, and I think one thing that's important to note is that Rivers Rebuke was popular at that time in Teamer sideboards when the hidden stockpile decks rose up.
Yes.
And it was incredible in that matchup. So there was another specific reason to have it. I think Rivers Rebuke is a card that wants to be played next to non-instants and sorceries.
I agree.
In a deck with heavy instants and sorceries, that's not a card I would look to.
I would also say that Rivers Rebuke is not particularly good against March of the Multitudes. Like, it can basically shrink it. But the fact that March of the Multitudes can be cast just for regular mana after you cast a Rivers Rebuke means that it's not even particularly good against the token-based decks, especially when you end up bouncing stuff like History of Benalia. It just looks kind of weird. Maybe bouncing Legion's Landing. It's not great.
Well, right, it is great.
Your hand?
Yeah, mine's
great. All right, let's do 1 or 2 more questions, though, because we didn't. I'm sure y'all got a lot of them. Robert was saying that some people were asking about Rakdos, the showstopper, Mr. Thanos. Because he flips a coin and half of everything dies.
I totally missed that joke. I was
nice.
Way over my head.
Okay, my bad.
I'm slow today. Sorry, everybody.
It's okay.
Yeah. Interesting card, powerful card, one that does not want to be played next to a lot of other creatures. So in the way that this deck is built, with all the incidental value being generated by creatures, the Rakdos Showstopper is going to undo a lot of that. Just half of and even though they're small creatures, like, you don't mind that they die, but it's still awkward. Like, you want to get all that value.
No, I agree. I mean, you can't play Siege Gang Commander and Rakdos Showstopper in the same deck.
Yeah.
They don't mesh. But I will say this. I think a Grixis deck with Rakdos Showstopper at the top end might be pretty good.
Like just that and Nicol Bolas.
Nicol Bolas, yeah. I mean, maybe Doom Whisperer, but maybe not. It still dies, so... I don't know. Maybe.
I could see that.
Another 2-parter question here from Ninja Waffle 14, which may be my favorite username, and Cryofang. They were both asking about Jund, and Ninja Waffle was asking, do you think that Jund will be worth playing for the strain on mana, just to add green cards?
Sorry.
And Cryofang was asking, if you were building Jund, would you want Bedevil or Vraska's Contempt?
It's all you, baby. Go ahead.
All of these questions are so highly contextual. Like, I can't answer them in any general sense. Like, how good is Contempt going to be in the format versus Bedevil? Like, how important is exiling or the life gain? How important is that 4th mana on your curve? Is the Jund deck going to have a lot of 3s so you just follow that up with a removal spell? Or are you going to be heavier in the 4 slot of the curve so you really want to Bedevil first to set that up and use your mana effectively? Like, is there another mana fixer the way that old Jund decks had Farseek in our Return to Ravnica days?
Yeah, we got Thunderherd Migration. All you gotta do is play a bunch of dinosaurs.
Play a bunch of dinosaurs. And then when you say build a Jund, I assume you mean like a classic Jund mid-range deck. But I'm not even sure what the core of that deck would look like.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we have like a creature you can point to and say that's Thragtusk. That's the Thragtusk for this deck.
Yeah, that's the Bloodbraid Elf. Like there's nothing that stands out right now. So far, the Gruul cards that they've printed are either big creatures or aggressively slanted cards. Rakdos looks to be a fairly aggressively slanted color. I guess the Golgari deck would be where you look. So, like, what red cards do you want in your Golgari deck? that makes it easier for Bedevil.
Bedevil is BBR,
Yeah.
right? So I think splashing red in a Golgari deck for Bedevil is not that hard, but I don't think it's worthwhile just for that. Like you definitely need at least one, maybe two more reasons to splash red.
You might even want Lava Coil. Like they've gone back and forth, the Golgari decks, right, on what 2-mana removal spell to play, and none of them are particularly good.
No,
so.
Assassin's Trophy giving your opponent land is pretty gross. I mean, once you do it in the late game, the land isn't a big deal, but in the early turns, like, you just cannot Assassin's Trophy a 2-drop creature. It's just not something you can afford to do.
Yeah. So Golgari deck splashing red, and I know like the Golgari deck's mana is a little awkward right now as 2-color, but it might even get better as a 3-color deck. As awkward as that sounds, once you have all the shock lands, you do take a lot of damage.
Yeah,
you have Wild Growth Walker to help.
Yeah, but then you're just canceling out the ability of Wild Growth Walker. Then you're not really gaining anything. You're just breaking even. And the whole reason why, the games against Mono Red when you have Wild Growth Walker in your deck are already pretty close. And if you're shocking yourself for a bunch, it's a lot harder. And my article today actually had I had 3 different Wild Growth Walker decks that were all trying to hit a bunch of land drops via Explore with Hydroid Crassus, and every time I built a 3-color mana base, I was just like, it's taking away all this life gain I'm getting. Ow! Yeah, dude. I went from 4 to 11 in all the decks. Every 3-color deck, you go from 4 shock lands to 11. That is a lot.
Yeah, going to be hard to beat
Maybe
the
12,
mono red decks and the nearly mono white decks on 14 life. So
I agree with that. All right, well, let's play some Magic, shall we?
As I've noted, my hand is great.
Okay, you're on the play. My hand is keepable, but not good if we draw a land.
My best turn 1 play.
Go. I have my best turn 1 play as well.
I am going to Duress you.
Yeah, it's Spell Pierce, but I also have the opt.
I will play a tap Bullet Crypt to pass.
If we hit a land, you're dead. Oh, you're dead. Ooh.
I'm dead.
Do I play Treasure Map or Search for a Scanta? I guess he can Bedevil Treasure Map, so we're going to play Search for a Scanta.
Let's play a Midnight Reaper.
Okay.
Pass the turn.
That one is rather annoying.
Okay, I was trying to Duress to take a potential Lava Coil away. Hopefully it's not there.
All right. We just need to naturally hit our land drop here, so we're going to put the Discovery in the graveyard. Hey, we naturally hit our land. So we can play Enigma Drake as a blocker. If he spends his 4th turn, just hitting it with a removal spell and attacking for 3, that's not that big of a deal. But we could also just play Treasure Map and start cranking that towards potentially finding a Lava Coil for the Midnight Reaper, or potentially Fallout for a Rekindling Phoenix. And also just give us a big burst of mana at some point. So I think this is better. If he has a Bedevil, it kind of forces the action pretty soon here. Either this turn or next turn needs to destroy it, or else he's in trouble.
Attack for 3.
Yeah, 17 lives. Tank.
Really needed to draw the 4th land there.
Yes. We're going to get him with our stuff.
So, Todd is well set up to grind into the long game with Treasure Map that we currently don't have a Bedevil for, or I would be slamming it, and search for Azcanta. So I think I just want to apply a ton of pressure and hope to eventually get there. So I'm actually going to play this Direfleet Daredevil and exile... I'll exile the Spell Pierce, because later I might want to exile the Discovery.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah.
And I think that means I want to just use my mana here and Duress. I probably should have done that in the other order, because you had a mana up, but... which one of these?
Probably the 1-mana one, but... I mean, this fuels these... But if these are alive, then they're just bad for you no matter what. But
yeah, so I think you're right. I think you take the 1-mana one. So
I guess next turn, actually, I'm probably casting one of these and not one of these. So it's possible. But I guess if I draw a land, I might no, I've already scryed on top, so I don't know.
But I wouldn't have known that.
All right, which way?
I'm going to take the opt.
Okay. All right, untap.
Yep.
I'm going to draw this. I'm going to Discovery. Guess we'll graveyard both.
Okay.
Draw. Tilt. All right, we're gonna pick up you. We have Enigma and a Crackle.
Yeah, you got some drakes.
And we'll pass turn.
Attack for 5.
Yeah, we're gonna go to 12.
I'll play a mountain and pass the turn.
I need to draw land, he says, and then I guess you wanted to play the discovery off of the. Okay, all right. Now we're just looking for a land. I will upkeep.
Trigger search first.
Oh yeah, I didn't even do that last turn. I don't think. I think I forgot. Yeah, trigger search. Ooh, it's a foil. Son of a gun. I guess I'll just do my thing next turn. I'll leave it on top. I'll draw. I'm gonna coil this. And I'm going to say go, and on your upkeep, I'm going to activate this.
Yep.
Okay. I just want to do that so if he bedevils, I can transform it in response or force him to do it on his upkeep.
Yeah.
We'll put this on bottom, transform this. Get 3. Right over turfs.
Attack you for 2. We got a stack of tokens here.
Okay.
Attack brings you to 10.
Yep.
I drew land 5 and get me some goblins.
That's the Siege Gang Commander. That's not good. But we might be able to survive this.
You're 10 life. I got 4 goblins.
I know what you got. 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so search for Scanta. We need to do this, which I would really rather keep that, but we need to hit our 7th card in the grave, and we'd like to hit a land. All right. Play Niv. Go. What's up? It's kind of funny. I was thinking about bringing in Fiery Cannonade, but even if I had it that turn, it doesn't kill Direfully Daredevil.
You have 4 in hand?
I do.
I know 2 of them.
You do. 2 drakes. It's just 2 drakes. Sir, ship it. So this is 100% Andrew Jessup's build and Danny Jessup's build from the Invitational. This is actually the new norm for this archetype, like moving away from Arclight Phoenix and moving towards slightly more controlling strat. You can see we're not playing something like Maximize Velocity. Search for Scanta actually acts more as a mana ramp card in this archetype than it does an engine. Filters early so you hit your land drops, grows your drakes while also giving you a land on the ultimate turn for Niv plus dive down.
Also, Alex the Brave just subscribed for 2 months in a row.
Oh, thanks, Alex. Appreciate it. Ross is in a pickle jam. I think you should just throw 3 goblins and Nimbus at. Just see what happens. Just sacrifice all your creatures. Spend your whole turn. Target Nimbus with the 6 damages. Just see what happens.
Classic Ross Marion.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
I don't know what to do.
Here again. What's your hand? I have a dive down. Does that make it easier?
No, that makes it much harder.
Okay, how does it make it harder? You're just dead then. Probably. You can't. Okay, I think you're gonna
have a dive down when you were like agonizing over keeping that one.
I wanted to keep the second one so I could, in case you had double removal spell, or in case you like tried to kill it over 2 turns. It was just
Sparrow
like.
Sparrow is also just subscribed for 4 months in a row.
What's up, Sparrow? Thank you. Sparrow's subbing my channel. Sparrow type. All right, what you got? Just show me your hand. We'll show our hands and talk about it. How about that? 3, 2, 1. Show my hand. Let's talk about it. If this is a really hard turn. I know I've maybe spoiled it by telling you I've dived down. Okay, you're in a lot of trouble. I say if you target it with Lava Coil, I'm just gonna dive down in response because then I have to fight through double activation Siege Gang Commander. So I don't think casting Lava Coil is something you want to do. I think that this is probably your best attack. If I block here, you can go first strike damage. and then throw at it, throw at it, throw at it. And I have to do it in response to the first throw at it or not block. Right? Let me figure this out. Casting a lava coil if I have dive down kills you. Or it doesn't kill you, but it's very, very bad for you. A lot of really awful things will happen. But assuming if you have to assume that I don't have dive down, it might be worth like the high risk, high reward play. Alright, what happens if you attack like this? Block here. Or I could just take... No, I can't take 5 because then I'll die. Take 3, go to 7, and I go to 1. If you attack here, I block this. 5, let this die. Take... No, it doesn't work either. 2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah, it's not quite enough.
Base 1N with this Twitch Prime stuff.
No, this is a really hard turn. I mean, giving no information from knowing that I have the dive down, I don't know what you should do. But I do know that if you cast Lava Coil, the game ends. So let's just take that off the table. How do you attack and try to deal with Niv? Or kill me, for that matter. Do you have Banefire in your deck right now?
No.
Like any? Okay. Like, there might be this weird long-term goal of just use Memorial to Folly, all target my face, and then... Or sorry, use Siege Gang, all target my face, and then get it back with Folly because I don't have, like, Essence Scatter. But I don't know if that's fast enough because I think... I won't kill you next turn, but I think I'll just kill you the turn after that by attacking.
Yeah, you'll just play a Drake and have to dive down. I won't be able to Lava Coil anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible you just go for Coil and see what I do, you know? But maybe you attack first and then you don't... Like, if you just do this and I block, all right, you make me take 3, I go to 7, and then post-combat you Coil, and then if I dive down, you double Siege Gang in response? How's that?
What are you saying?
Okay, if you attack like this...
Chad is saying, what if he just attacks all and just throws goblins at your face?
So what happens is I block Siege Gang Commander, right? He throws Siege Gang at my face, and I take 7.
Go nuts it because you have Niv Mizzet, these are going to die, and I just throw these 3, then then
the most you deal is 9.
Yeah, I get Todd to 1, and I have like 2 turns to try to find a point of damage, which is really difficult to find. I'm probably dead in that 2 turns.
I agree with that.
Like I think I would have to draw land. If I did that and drew land off the top, and to erase the 2-turn clock. The other thing is Todd could just dive down and save 2 damage, and when he's at 3, like then he has plenty of time.
Yeah.
That plan because he's going to draw a card off the Niv Mizzet trigger.
Yeah, but then I get destroyed by Bedevil, so I think that's a super risky.
But
play.
I would have already tapped out by the time you did that. Like I'm tapped out. I've thrown these 3 at you.
Oh,
you're 4.
Yeah, and then
you just.
Oh no, then I can just do this and shoot.
Yeah,
I don't even have to burn my.
Yeah, you don't even have to burn the dive down. He actually has on board draw a card and ping the Daredevil to save 2 life.
Yeah,
that's been the problem.
Yeah,
so there's no real good way for me to.
You can't kill me this turn, and you can't threaten lethal.
Tap the right way.
Sorry, I think attacking with these is the best play because if I block here, you just let damage happen. Niv has 3 on it.
Yeah,
you go Lava Coil. I draw a card, shoot a thing. In response, you just throw 2 goblins.
Yeah, this is definitely the right attack.
Okay, so I'm going to block here.
I have no effects.
Okay, I'm at 7.
You go to 7. I'll let this thing die. Now,
alternatively, you could just hope for the best. And
Lava Coil, Niv Mizzet.
Okay. We will overturf, dive down, and force him to throw 2 goblins.
Do you want to resolve this trigger first?
Yeah, sorry. All right. Target Siege Gang?
I think you should target a token.
Okay, target a token. And I'm going to see what you do.
I have to let this resolve.
Okay, sorry. Okay, dive down this trigger.
The trigger is fine for Niv.
Okay. All right.
And
then
now this trigger.
And then I just have to target you.
Yeah.
And then you throw 2 things here.
Okay, throw 2 goblins out. So it's still in the graveyard. You're at 7. Now I pass the turn.
Okay.
You've drawn.
That was an insanely complicated turn.
Yeah.
That I think
had to throw away Direfleet Daredevil, Lava Coil, and all 3 of my tokens, and you threw away a dive down and a Niv Mizzet, and you drew 2 extra cards.
Okay.
Izzet is really good.
Izzet is insanely good. All right, so since he has the Memorial Folly, and I don't have a lot of ways to deal with this, I'm just going to go Lava Coil here and play an Enigma Drake and say go. And this is this black die here is noting that Spell Pierce is exiled for Crackling Drake.
Lava Coil.
Okay.
Pass the turn.
All right, draw. So I can play You have no cards, right?
Correct.
So I can play Crackling Drake and go for the kill in 2 turns. I could also just play Ral and start ticking up and threaten lethal. That way, so you can get back Dire Fleet. Target. Ooh, you could target Discover Dispersal and then Dispersal the Ral. Oh, that doesn't do that much. Just bounces it.
I don't have the mana for that.
But I mean, you could draw.
Yeah, if I draw land.
No, you get it. Yeah, if you draw land. That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to think like worst case scenarios. Ral is slightly harder to deal with, though you've gone through 2 coils already. I think I'm going to try to kill you faster. All right, so I'm going to draw for this. I'll play this. I can play another Search for Azcanta as just a filter engine. And use my mana a little more efficiently. I think that's okay. Just never transform it.
Buy back the Daredevil.
Oh, you have a coil in the graveyard. You're just going to kill it.
Yes, you do have a Lava Coil.
I'm really stupid. Okay.
Thought you realized that.
I did. Let's
kill your thing.
Yep.
Play another Memorial. Pass the turn.
I'm really stupid.
Hilariously enough, if I went for that play where I tried to kill you with the Siege Gang, I would have drawn land, but I would have drawn the exact second copy of Memorial Folly, the only ETB tapped land.
All right, we're going to put a land in the graveyard, but not transform this. I will Ral minus. So Ral has 2 loyalty.
Good.
Yeah.
Get back this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Target and opt.
Okay, I'm casting it.
Or don't want to pay 2 life, so I get to Discovery. I'm at 18. I should just Discovery.
Okay.
So or I'm at 20. Yeah. Go to 18. Definitely binning this a land. Do I want this? This card seems fine, but it's really bad if Todd just has another Drake. Do I need to go for something bigger? What am I even drawing here that's big? Mainly I'm like drawing answers to Ral.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I probably just need to answer this Ral. So let's bin this Midnight Reaper too.
Mm-hmm.
And pass the turn.
Okay, in a turn we'll use our last mana and cast an opt. We'll scry a land to the bottom and draw, untap, search, look.
Todd's just seeing so many cards now every turn that it's going to be really difficult to find him without.
I just need Drakes to finish the game here because we have insane amounts of filter and card advantage. So treasure map doesn't really do anything. We're not going to transform. Draw. Ral, top 2. Keep the Sulfur Fall. I know we don't have to show it. I'm going to play it. We're going to play Chart of Course. Sure. I'm going to pitch. Spell Pierce seems not great at the moment. Azcanta doesn't find me Drake, but I don't want to play a Drake this turn anyway, unless I guess I can opt and try to find an Enigma. Exactly. We'll bottom a land. Okay. And then we can play Crackling Drake this turn, but I think that is a mistake because he could just find a way to kill it.
You can just Azcanta too.
Yeah, you can hit Ralph for 2, but that's not a huge deal.
That's a pretty good draw.
Yikes.
You 4 in hand?
Yes.
Attack. Siege King Commander.
That results.
Get some goblins.
Mm-hmm.
Pass the turn.
Activate Azcanta.
Sure.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow, we whiffed. Wow.
Load this roll.
Route down. Route down.
Okay. Got a little bit of something going.
I'm going to put this in the graveyard. My number might be a little off. I'm going to check once I actually cast my Drake. No transform. Draw. Coil Siege Gang. And play Crackling Drake. Draw. And pass turn. Alright, so I'm going to just remove everything that's not relevant. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. And then 3 in the exile. Okay. I have a bunch of random stuff over here that doesn't matter.
Okay. Show me the third dive down.
Okay.
S.
Okay. So this is 13, 16. So we just got to increase it by 2 and hope for that he doesn't have. I mean, if we were tapped out, he would have just killed it otherwise. Let's go chart a course.
Find a spell.
Discard a land. Chart a course.
I'm dead.
Discard a land. Attack. Whee! We did it! Those sweet games, though. I'll say that.
I wish I had drawn a Playcrafter ever.
Yeah. Playcrafter is particularly good against all these dive downs and such. I will definitely give you that much.
Yeah. Jim's list had 4. He was definitely targeting the Izzet Drake's deck and Niv Mizzet in general. I trimmed 1 just to have the 4th Bedevil to try it out, and Playcrafter would have been better.
I think that there's a lot of give and take and with how you build your removal base, and something like Bedevil means you're not playing Vraska's Contempt or whatever, so like the life gain doesn't matter. Or if you're replacing Playcrafter, like you're just going to be just a slightly bit more vulnerable to something like Dive Down. It's the trade-off that you have to make when you choose to play like target removal versus sacrifice versus cheaper removal versus there's always a sacrifice you have to make along the way. So let's talk about your this is a Drake's whatever. It's probably gonna end up having a third color. A lot of stuff's gonna change. Let's focus on the Rakdos deck. What you liked, what you didn't like, and maybe some changes you would make.
There's not a ton to say about it. Bedevil was okay. It was better than Contempt would have been for sure. Just being cheaper. I was able to double spell more often with it.
The turn where you got the coil plus Bedevil, you definitely should have played your land first.
Yeah,
I'll give you that.
But. Still just got blown up by double dive down. But regardless, it seemed better than Contempt, which is the primary card I was replacing. I have 4 Bedevils. Jim's listed 3 Contempts and the 4th Playcrafter. So I definitely thought that was an upgrade. Rick's Mahdi was awkward the one time I drew it. I drew 1 in game 1 and just kept trying to empty my hand. Always had a card I didn't want to discard to it. And by the time I played it at the end, I didn't spectacle it. But it was replacing Dusk Legion Zealot. I don't know how much better Zealot would have been.
Well, you probably could have just played Zealot earlier without any real downside.
Increase my options somewhere. So we didn't really get to see what Rick's Mahdi was going to do.
Yeah, I'm not sure it really actually belongs in that style of deck. I think it'll really shine in archetypes that are just hyper aggressive and they want something they can play on 2. Just discard an extra land or discard an extra redundant card. Your deck has a lot of unique elements to it. Your creatures are all vastly different in what they're trying to accomplish. Whereas something like a mono red aggro strategy, all their creatures basically do the same thing except for Goblin Chainwhirler. They're all just like a body that is cheap and attacks. And if you draw too many of those, you can translate one of those into an extra, a different card and try to turn that into an interactive burn spell to clear a creature.
I would rather have the card filtering in a deck that has unique effects so that you can dig towards the one that is relevant and is uniquely powerful. When all your cards are generally the same, you just play a reasonable ratio of them and let variance play out normally.
Yeah, that's certainly.
I think those decks are going to use the spectacle aspect of it more effectively, and that might be how you need to utilize the card. So that's where it would be better in an aggressive deck.
If it was just its front half, the 2-mana 2/2 when it ETBs, discard draw, I think it would be fine. I don't know if it would be good. It probably would be an uncommon and not a rare. I don't know if a card like that currently exists. The whole Tormenting Voice, Wild Guess, Rummage, that kind of stuff is relatively new to Magic. Wild Guess was first printed in want to say Core Set 15 or something. I know that it was in Modern. I played it in Agora's Vengeance deck in Modern. like the week after Charles Gindy built the first Tron deck in Modern or
Sure.
whatever, you know.
Yeah, like that, man. Those rummaging effects are good. We didn't really see it come into play. Like I didn't play one on turn 2 to smooth out my draws there, which would have been nice. I'm excited. I want to see more of it because I don't think we got to see a lot of the new elements play out as well. Like, these games were so like laser focused on trying to keep you off Drakes, and like the dive down sort of blew me out because I just never found Playcrafters. So it's clear that card is very important, but we knew that going in.
Playcrafters is insanely good against this thing.
Yeah,
so if you draw it, completely changes the texture of the game. Like if I play Enigma Drake on turn 4 with dive down backup, that's just a mana that I lose when you play a Playcrafter, you know, and you trade your Playcrafter. It's, you know, Diabolic Edict for 3 mana is not always something that's like hyper powerful or whatever, but when your opponent is focused on giving their stuff hexproof and stuff, it's great.
Yeah,
you know.
And the cheap creatures, like now Ivorix, Madi, Vijima, Dusklegion Zealot, you throw that one away, and then you upgrade your 1/1 into a 3/2.
Right.
His list had one copy of Goblin Instigator. I just have one Dusklegion Zealot. So that Instigator was good with Playcrafter as well. So his list was built for a very specific metagame. I'm assuming post Ravnica
Playcrafter with Judith.
Yeah,
Playcrafter with Judith.
I'm assuming post Ravnica Allegiance, the metagame will change. So I built the deck in a little bit more of a generic way and wanted to feature the new cards. It got punished for doing so in this matchup. I'm excited to see how it works out against Esper Control later on.
Yeah, absolutely. Me too. Yeah, I mean, we'll talk more about like Izzet Drakes and Golgari and the changes we can make to that and splashes we can make to that. We'll do that next week. Right now, we're focused on the guilds. Next up, we're going to have Esper Control. Mostly Azorius is splashing for Mortify, which I think is going to be really strong in helping deal with things like Experimental Frenzy,
History of Benalia, Complex Tribunal, a lot of Search for Azcanta, a lot of enchantments around to kill. So I'm a big fan as well.
Yeah, I mean, the Search for Azcanta is a pretty big deal in Control Mirrors, and having a 3-mana answer to it is really strong, especially when that card just naturally answers a lot of really strong creatures.
Also, that's normally a slot that is dead in the Control Mirror in Game 1. So it having some functionality is really good, and a huge leg up specifically in the pre-board games. But you're going to be playing against Golgari. Not so many enchantments for you to target in that matchup. But...
No, but plenty of creatures to target. You know, Wildgrowth Walker can occasionally get out of hand. And also just having a cheap answer to a threat buys me enough time to try to stick a Teferi onto the battlefield and run away with that. We're going to be relying on Absorb as our main counterspell as opposed to Sinister Sabotage or Ionize. Some Izzet versions played Ionize. We're going to see how that card goes. I think it's going to be stellar. When people are leaning on Revitalize in a lot of their blue-white X control decks, it just leads me to believe that Absorb is just nuts. It's counterspell plus the Revitalize part, you know?
Absorb was good 10, 15 years ago, and sometimes that changed.
Sir.
Almost 20.
Sir. Do you not know what year? What year was it?
Sometimes that changes over time, but in this case, I don't think it does. We've seen the template of 3-mana counterspell with some upside, do a lot of good work, and this is a really big upside for these control decks.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone who has played a control deck in the last few years would recognize like Disallow as a super good counterspell.
I think it's actually the weakest one of the level that we've had.
Yeah, we had
Dissipate. We've had the one that the Scryed one.
Crap. I don't know. The Sinister Sabotage, the Scryed.
Yeah, Void Chatter, which was just Dissipate again, but Colorless, which might be relevant.
But it also exiled.
All the exile ones were super relevant.
Yeah,
so there's 3 mana, but this one, I think it's easy to see how it's important against like mono red aggro or mono white aggro to get that life gain and buy time. I think it's particularly important in a matchup like Golgari that we're going to see, because this mid-range Golgari deck, it doesn't really have the tools to straight up outgrind a control deck. What it does is put pressure on the opponent with its creatures while gaining some advantage and use that pressure to limit their tactical flexibility. Like they have to, the control player has to worry about their life total so much, so they can't utilize their cards often to the best of their ability because they have to stay alive. And if you have that extra 3 life, that cushion, now you have more freedom to utilize your cards and set yourself up better in the attrition game.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And one thing that I tried to explain this as best I could to some of my friends who are just getting into Magic because of Arena, which is pretty cool. I told them that Revitalize effectively cancels out your opponent's second turn. Sometimes even cancels out their third turn. Yeah, they have a creature on the battlefield, but that attack no longer exists. and all you did was, spend mana on a turn where you weren't casting anything anyway. And Absorb goes a step further in that not only does it do effectively the same thing, where it'll cancel your opponent's attack on turn 2 or sometimes their attack on turn 3, but it has an effect to it that literally cancels out their entire turn, the turn you're casting the Absorb. So it effectively becomes like this, effectively like a double Time Walk in some sense. But obviously, gain 3 life is not Time Walk. But sometimes it cancels out an entire turn that your opponent's trying to do, especially when something like Lightning Strike or Wizard's Lightning is very heavily played in mono red decks.
Banefire.
Yeah, and Banefire puts you out of Banefire. I don't know how many times people watching this at home have even know what the card Urza's Rage is, let alone knows what I'm talking about when I say Absorb counters Urza's Rage. Even though Urza's Rage can't be countered, Absorb counters it.
Yeah. So we'll see how that plays out in the Golgari matchup coming up next. But for now, we're going to take a 10-minute break.
Yep.
So while we get everything set up for you, but please stick around and send your questions over to Robert. Please tag at SEG Tour in those questions, and we will be back soon.